I remember during a training session that I was delivering, a lady gestured to me and asked, well, when are we going to have a break? And I thought, okay, we have been going for about an hour, and normally I would stop at that point and have a break anyway. So I said, yes, let's have a break now. She came over to me and said, can I have a word with you? And the first thing she said to me is, help. What do you think about help? Because I need it. Now, help is a wonderful thing. Of course, I asked her, why do you need help and what with? Now, she said, I keep on feeling anxious about things. I know that I'm getting to where I want to be, but I'm anxious over the fact that it hasn't happened yet. I still haven't got enough money to pay my bills. So although I'm moving ahead in the direction that I want to go in, I'm still considering other options because they can satisfy what I need now, which is, to put it plainly, money. And she was feeling a lot of anxiety. I had to explain to her that the first thing that you need to do is continue asking for help, because anxiety is a horrible thing that will almost block your ability to do anything. It's almost like tuning into a radio station and you're searching for the one playing the music that you like to hear, and as you keep searching and you don't find it, you end up just listening to any radio station. You know you don't like the music, but you keep listening to it. And every time you listen to it, you know that you're listening to what you don't like. So you're moving on without what you want. And there comes a time when you will stop searching for what you want, and you'll actually accept that you have what you don't want. Now, you can't listen to your best music until you tune in to the station that plays it. And a lot of things in life are just like that. You have to tune in to what it is that you want. And that might mean moving away from where you're currently tuned into, although you're used to it, whether you like it or not, whether you see it as good or bad. Now, she then said to me, but what am I going to do about money? I had to say to her, it's not really money that you are seeking here. You're seeking peace from anxious feelings. There are many, many ways that you can get to that, but you have to keep asking for help, because with that level of anxiety, it can come to you at any time. It could come back when you actually have money, because now you're anxious over how quickly you're getting the money, or what you're going to do with the money, or the fact that you can't do everything today. So that anxious point of view, it's almost an anxious approach, is something that you need to avoid. Now, there was a day when I was walking down the street thinking I've got to go take my car in and get it serviced, and went back, picked up the car, went to the garage, and as soon as I arrived there, I'm thinking, well, they look really, really busy. And the guys in there are wonderful people. But on this particular day, there were no smiles. There was tension everywhere. A lot of people were asking for a lot of things to be done with their cars. Now, when it came to my turn, I immediately thought, what I'm going to say is, I'll come back another day. Now, I know these gentlemen, and they started saying, no, we'll deal with you today. Please, just wait. We're really busy. And I said, no, I can see that the workload you're currently dealing with is already pushing you to your limits, so I will not add to that. Mine is not an urgent need because I still have my legs. I can walk. So even if the car wasn't driving, which it still was, I can wait. Now, moving away from the tension made me feel not just uplifted, but it made me realize that I'd made a conscious choice. Now, that conscious choice did not, as it outwardly seems, just consider other people than myself. It started by me considering, how do I feel? How do I want to feel? especially considering what I'm about to do. Is it going to make me feel good? Now, my choice to come back another day made me feel good, and it also allowed me to remove any anxieties over having to deal with people who are already in a position of tension, because literally it's like walking into a fire when you know you don't have to. You will get burnt even if you don't intend to get burnt. So I walked away from that with zero anxiety. As I was on my way home that day, I remembered when I had my first office job and walking into that office and thinking, wow, I have my own desk. It was in the middle of a room with lots of desks. One thing happened immediately. A guy walked in, sat behind me, and looked like so much tension was in his world that he was about to explode like a cartoon character. But he didn't. He just sat there, turning his head, shaking his head, with a level of anger that I could tell was ready to be unleashed. The manager went over to him and said, "How come you're late?" And the anger started coming out. We don't need to go into what he was saying, but it was anger, all anger. About 10, 20 minutes later, his phone rang on his desk. He picked it up. His screech and scream as a response to the phone call scared all of us. But then his face just started to change and change and change, and it was almost like the calm coming after the storm. He started smiling, and we all thought, wait a minute, has he won? Did he bet on a horse or something? Has he won something? True as can be, he came off the phone and just started screaming and shouting and laughing to himself. Because after so many years of trying to have children, his wife had just called to say she was pregnant. Now, in that moment, all of his anxieties left, and they were filled and replaced with just sheer joy. Now, that won't fix his anxiety unless he pays attention to what's happening, unless he pays attention to it and thinks to himself, what just really happened? I was so anxious over something that means something to me, so I was getting even more anxious, and the anger was driving that anxiety to the point where I was losing control. Then what happened? Something made me feel a different emotion, and that emotion is called happiness. That emotion was like water to the fire, and it put the fire out. What could change that is that emotion could be fleeting, and I could allow the emotions of anger to come back in. However, I did consider what could he do, and at the time I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, so I just paid attention to it and moved on. However, now I know that in those moments he had several things happen. 1, he got happier. 2, he was shown a way to get happier. 3, he was shown that there is always a reason to get happier. Sometimes you have to find it, sometimes it will find you. Anxiety is not something that should be taken lightly. It's something that you need to get help with wherever and whenever you feel the need. It can feel like, but what do I say? Who do I say it to? The truth is, say something to somebody other than yourself. Get the help that will make you able to help yourself. There is always a way.